When I was a kid, I would ask my parents around this time of the year why we had to give something up for Lent. It seemed kind of odd and sort of random to me that just for a couple weeks we would just stop doing something that we enjoy doing. And I think my parents said something to me like, well, Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and so we have to do the same. And I really wasn't satisfied with that answer. And the reason why I wasn't satisfied with that answer was because I didn't understand myself why Jesus fasted in the first place. And I guess I also didn't even know who Jesus was to me. I didn't know that he was God. I didn't know that he was our creator. And I certainly didn't know that he was teaching us something about how he created us. And some truth in fasting that is instrumental for us. I don't know if you paid attention to the opening prayer. It's called the Collect. But let me read it to you again. It says, "Grant, O Lord, that we may begin with holy fasting this campaign of Christian service, so that as we take up battle against spiritual evils, we may be armed with weapons of self-restraint." Do you get the image? Campaign, battle, and being armed. This prayer that we heard at the beginning of Mass, is being said all over the world today, in different languages, of course. And with that, the church is telling us, all of her children, all the billion members of the church, that we are going into battle, that we are entering into a certain sense of war. And why do we go to battle? Why do we, even as Americans, why would we go to battle? Because I think initially we all think, as Americans, we go to battle to defend what? What do we defend? Our country. What else do we defend? Freedom. We as Americans go to battle to defend freedom. We go to battle to be able to pursue a life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to be free to do so. And the truth is that in our own lives, deep within ourselves, we are not really that free. We are not free to be truly happy. It's sort of like comes to us and then it goes away. The weekend comes and it goes away. Break comes and it goes away. This thing comes and it goes away, and it's continually passing by us, and we are never truly free to be happy or to be alive. We are constantly under the oppression, really, and the enslavement of trying over and over again to do the things that we think will bring us some sort of ultimate satisfaction, happiness, or pleasure, but instead leave us extremely disappointed and brings about pain to ourselves and to others as well. And this, guys, we call sin. We are not free because all of us are still very much attached to things that we think will bring us happiness, but they don't. And so the church tells us today to arm ourselves, to prepare ourselves to get ready to go into spiritual battle in order to fight for our spiritual freedom, so that we can become free to pursue authentic happiness that is found in who alone. And who alone is found your ultimate happiness. In God alone. God's always a good answer for those things. In God alone. And so to be free to no longer be fixated or distracted on fake ideas of happiness, while eternal happiness is being offered to you constantly in a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so the spiritual weapons that we have in order to win this battle is fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. Fasting from and giving up things like wasting time on our phones, Fortnite, TikTok, or whatever you may have a fascination toward, strengthens you to be able to say no to the most difficult thing you can say no to, and that is your own desires. But being able to exercise that control gives you the power to exercise true freedom to choose. Because anyone can give into their impulses. But a woman or a man of true strength and freedom can choose a greater good even if they don't feel like doing it. That is true strength. That is true power. That is true freedom. And in honesty, we have to reflect within ourselves during the season and say, if we can't fast from small things like giving up our phones, apps, or certain foods, then how do we expect to be free and turn away from bigger things like sin that harm us and harm others and block us from pursuing true happiness with Jesus Christ? This practice of fasting is our weapon to win the battle for our freedom. Prayer gives us the strength to fight because we can't fight this battle on our own. And so during this season, whenever you feel the temptation to give up and say, whatever, I'm just gonna do whatever I wanna do. In those moments, ask Jesus and ask His Blessed Mother Mary to help you, to give you the motivation, to give you the impetus and the strength to fight for your freedom, to pursue happiness. And finally, almsgiving. Well, during this season, we are going to be saying no to a lot of things. Today we say no to meat, for example. We do this, again, in order to become stronger, to be able to choose. We also need to say yes to better things, to replace those things. Because your lives as Catholic Christians is not just about saying no to things. That is an incredibly frustrating and boring life. If you are just like, well, I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do this here, and I can't do that there. But rather your life, the life of holiness that you are called to embrace and called to enter into, that one that will bring you true happiness, is the most interesting life that you can imagine. It's one that you are consistently saying yes to things, yes to greater goods. And so in almsgiving, your weapon here is to say yes to acts of kindness, yes to patience with family members, and most importantly, yes to a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ, your true happiness, and the ultimate reason why you want to be free in the first place, so that you can run to Him, free from any distractions in order to be truly, ultimately, and authentically happy. The church calls you to battle today for your spiritual freedom. Prepare yourselves and equip yourselves with these weapons of fasting, prayer, and almsgiving.